All right. So now we're doing FreeCodeCamp Legacy Python for everybody and networking protocols. Let's get to it. All right. So let's start by writing this down. How about that? Let's get the notes out. Boom. There we go. And let's go all the way to the bottom. There we go. And where are we? Application protocol. Let's do that. So, oops. That's not how you spell it. Application protocol. Let's shorten this up a little. And let's do this. So since TCP and Python. What's TCP mean? I forgot already. Let's go up here. TCP, Transport Control Protocol, built on top of IP. It assumes IP might lose some data, stores and retransmits data. What? Handles flow control using a transmit window, provides a nice, reliable method to transport information online. What? Okay. You know what? I forgot all about that. I don't know what that is. Let's go over to, let's go ask the expert. Make sure the expert's good to go right now. Yeah, expert's good to go right now. Let's go ask the expert, what's TCP? Give us a simplified version of what TCP is. What is it called? Transfer Control Protocol? The Transport Control Protocol. They really need to make like picture books and stuff for this, because I like maybe when I say they, I mean we need to make like picture books for this, because I don't know what this is, and I need this broken down to me like I'm a freaking 8-year-old. So for real. All right. Transmission Control Protocol is a communication standard that ensures data is sent reliably over the internet. Communication standard. Okay, what's a protocol? Isn't a protocol like a method of doing something? Okay, so a protocol in the context of networking is like a set of rules or methods, or a method for how devices communicate with each other. Okay, so it's a method. That's what this whole thing is. It's just a method. Okay. Really, we need to make a picture book, guys. We need to like straight up. But you know what? That's why. You know, why us? Why has it got to be us? Because look, okay, I'm gonna break it down because this is my video. I don't care. All right. I was a waiter for like 12 years. Okay, I was a waiter and a manager and everything you could possibly do except for like own a restaurant or be like, you know, really high paid in a restaurant. I did it, right? So now that I'm not a waiter anymore, I don't care. I don't care about, you know, I used to be like, oh, waiters' rights, you know, look, we're getting screwed over here. But now I don't care. Look, I don't care anymore. I got out of it. I passed my time as a waiter, and I don't, you know, if they got to deal, you know, I don't care. If they got to deal with problems, it's not my problem anymore, you know? So like it's the same with the things that we used to do that I used to do, those videos I used to do, those short ones for the HTML and stuff. I used to care about HTML and I would like, oh, FreeCodeCamp sucks and blah, blah, blah. But right now, you know, I don't use them anymore. So I don't care about FreeCodeCamp anymore. I mean, this is literally, this Python course is literally the last thing I want to be using with these boneheads, because I feel like I have gotten to the point to where I don't need these guys to hold my hand and tell me, oh, this is how we think you should learn coding anymore. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, let's get back to it. That's where the protocol is, this thing right here. So let's go. Boom.
So now we have...
we got to write it down. I forgot. What a crappy video. What a crappy video. What a terrible video. I don't care. Look. Sometimes you just got to say, look, I got to go. I got to go do something else. You know what I'm saying? Since TCP and Python gives us a reliable socket, and the socket was like, the socket is the connection from like the user to the server, right? That's what it is. What do we want to do with the socket? What do we want to do with the socket? I mean, you know, like the socket between me and YouTube is, you know, transmitting this live stream, and then the socket between you and YouTube is watching the video. You know, that's the socket. You know, that's the socket at that moment. What do we want to do with the socket? What problem do we want to solve? Want to solve it. All right. Also, we've got application protocols. All right. We can say mail. We've got the mail, and we've got the World Wide Web. World Wide Web, which is the internet. Internet browsers. That's good. All right. So we've got that. And then this is the stack connections that we were seeing yesterday. So basically this is like the application to the application. So, this is me, this is YouTube, and this is all the junk that happens in between, but we're skipping that and just saying ... And this is the socket. All right. So let's go. Well, all of this stuff is the socket, is what makes the socket happen. But we're ignoring this, like he said in yesterday's video. So let's go.
Socket, we are going to talk.
Let's go to the beginning.
So now we have a socket. We are going to talk about what we're going to do with it, right? So the socket basically functions at this level. Your application is saying, make me a socket, which is sort of this endpoint. And then the connect actually connects to an application on the far side. And there's a port involved. So that might be port 80. And this is the far host, and that could be www.py4e.org or data.py4e.org.
My question is, how does it tell the socket? How do we tell which socket to use, and not socket, but port to use and all that other stuff? But the thing is, those questions, I think he implied yesterday in yesterday's video, is those questions are for a deeper, more detailed classes, or for personal research, probably. Like if you're going to actually be working on ports or whatever. Something like that. But right now we don't need to know about that. Although I really want to know a lot of this stuff. I guess that's a sign of like interest, maybe? Let's go.
Okay, and so the socket is solving this, and the question then is, what are we going to send and what are we going to expect to get back? And that's what we call the application protocol. So we know that these two have made a phone call. It's no different than making the phone call and saying, you know, hello, right?
I think it's pretty different considering... crap.
We know that these two have made a phone call. It's no different.
Okay, good. Luckily I've been scrolling and know how to do this by sight these days. Been doing this for a couple of years. What the hell did he just say? Something about it's like a phone. No, it's not like a phone call. You don't just send videos on phone calls, all right? I mean, like, okay, whatever. So anyway, let's go to the next slide. Oh, let's write this down, and he'll continue talking about his thing that I disagree with. But I mean, it's not 100% on point, but I guess whatever. HTTP Hypertext Transfer Protocol. That's what that means. HTTP Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Okay. Pardon me. So the dominant app application layer protocol on the internet. Interesting. It was invented, I would say developed. Let's say developed. Developed for the web. For the web. What is this title case? All right. The dominant. Hold on a second. I got to fix this title case. This was not done by somebody that knew what they were doing. I almost fell for it. Almost fell for it. Almost fell for this foolishness. You guys need to stick with coding and not actual English. So developed for the internet to retrieve HTML images, documents, etc. All right. Extended to be data in Ulysses, how you doing? Anyway, we're recording a video right now. Extended to be data in addition to documents. What? RS. Okay, we're gonna have to throw this in ChatGPT. To simplify this. Web services, etc. Oh my God. I'm gonna explode. Basic concept. We're putting this in ChatGPT. Make a connection. Okay. Just type it out. I'm just going to type it out. Make a connection. I'm not even going to try to understand what this says. We'll get ChatGPT to tell us. Request a document. Retrieve the document. They're using English words, but that ain't how that ain't English. I don't care. I don't care what you say. That's not English. There are rules to how these words are supposed to be used. You don't just get to say whatever you want just because you don't know how. All right, let's get ChatGPT to tell us what the hell this is even trying to tell us. All right, there we go. Translate this garbage into a real piece of information. I'm only saying it like this because I'm on a video right now. Got to make it entertaining, but let's do it. Here's a clearer version. Okay, let's do it. So the concept has been extended beyond just documents to include various types of data such as RSS feeds and web services. The basic process works as follows. Establish a connection with the server, request the data, whether it's a document, RSS feed, or other information, retrieve the requested data from the server, and close the connection once the data transfer is complete. This outlines a common pattern for how data is exchanged over the internet. I like that. We're going to take this and we're going to say this is mine now. Although I would like to type this out because typing it does make stronger something in the brain. It makes it stronger. All right. Actually, you know what? We're going to type this out because as you can see, it doesn't do a good job of formatting like I like. So let's just take this. Actually, you know what? Let's do this whole slide. Let's say do this whole thing here. No, not that. Let's do this. Do this whole thing here. Boom. Let's see. There we go. There we go. That's how we use ChatGPT in 2024 for learning. Yeah, we're going to type this down instead of that crap. This crap. Instead of this garbage. I mean, no offense. Clearly you know Python more than you know English. So, we can't blame you. That would be like blaming a French guy for not knowing English, right? You don't speak English, bro. You speak Python. So let me help you out. So let's do this. Let's type this stuff down. All right. So hypertext transfer protocol. We can keep the first part. Let's go here and start here. HTTP. And we already know, we've done it so many of these videos. We know he's not going to even really go over this in detail anyway. So might as well make it something we can actually use. All right. HTTP is the primary application layer protocol used on the internet for communication between clients. Let's drop this down. Like web browsers, browsers, and servers. How about that? And servers. Sounds legit. All right. It was originally designed to retrieve web content, including HTML pages, images, and documents. Oh, I didn't know that until just now, even though it was totally on the screen right here. Okay. This is a lot better. This makes learning a lot better. Let's go to the next thing. Okay. What else can you tell us about what that thing said, ChatGPT? Over time, comma, its use has expanded beyond just document retrieval to include other types of data, such as RSS feeds and web services. What's RSS? What's RSS stand for? I forgot. It's been so long. Really simple syndication. Syndication. Okay. It's a web feed format used to publish frequently updated content like blog posts. I mean, we'll get into that later. Okay, so let's copy this. I don't care about typing that out. We'll learn about this if we need it. Not today though. RSS. Let's do this. RSS feeds and web services. Okay, so let's go back to it. We were here. Now let's go to the next thing. Pardon me. Basic process. All right. Establish a connection between. Maybe we should do this. Watch. Check this out. Let's do this. Let's say 1 period space. Let's get rid of this. Okay. Establish a connection between the client and server. Okay. 2, we're going to send a request to the server for specific data. Ergo, a web page, image, or feed. Okay. Period. And then we're going to retrieve the data from the server in response to the request. Okay. And then 4, we're going to close the connection once the data transfer is complete. There we go. And then let's put down here, HTTP remains central to the functioning of the web. Okay. Allowing various forms of content and let's drop this down. And data to be shared between systems. Okay. Interesting. Okay, let's read this. Let's read it one more time because I've kind of zoned out around here. HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. HTTP is the primary application layer protocol used on the internet for communication between clients like web browsers, like this web browser right here, and servers, the server where ChatGPT actually lives. It was originally designed to retrieve web content, including HTML pages, images, and documents, like this one. Over time, its use has expanded beyond just document retrieval to include other types of data, such as RSS, really simple syndication, which is the blog thing down here. Podcasts also. Where else? Feeds and web services. I guess like bank stuff. I guess it's web services. Basic process: establish a connection between the client and server. The connection is the socket, right? Yes. Send the request to the server for, let's put socket. Right here, socket. Just so we remember that a socket and a connection is the same thing. Basically, send a request to the server for specific data. Okay, so ergo, send for a web page or an image or a feed. So this is the request to get the page, the image, or the feed, all right? Retrieve the data from the server in response to the request. Okay. Retrieve the data. Yeah. And then close the connection once the data transfer is complete. Okay. So I guess once you see, oh, Ulysses, I didn't even see you said something to me. Give me just a second. Close the connection once the data transfer is complete. HTTP remains central to the functioning of the web, allowing various forms of content and data to be shared between systems. Period. Perfect. All right. I wonder if that's what he'll say. But I got Ulysses over here asking me, do I plan to do some relational database FreeCodeCamp course in the future? No, I do not. I'm not planning that. I'm pretty much done with the internet, with JavaScript and all that stuff. The only reason I was doing any of that stuff was to learn coding, right? I don't really care about databases at this point in time. What I personally want to know is more about how to code. Okay. And that's what this is. That's what I'm doing. Like after I'm done with Python, I'm not going to be doing Python anymore after that. Like I think after we do this thing right here, we're going to go over to maybe do some code wars on Python just to get a little practice in. And then we're going to go over to like C++ or something like that. Because I honestly, I don't care about the internet. Okay. I like it. I use it, whatever. But I don't care about this. I'm not trying to make web pages and all this stuff. I'm trying to make actual computer applications. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to do. Like if you want to go in that direction, that's great. You know what I'm saying? At this point, if you're where I am right now, you can probably just fork and make a fork on your own and just go down the path you want to go down. You know, that's where I am right now. Like I want to go into C++ because I mean, I don't care about this. This is cool and it's good to know. And I want to know about this stuff But after I know about this, I'm going on to something to what I specifically want. You get what I'm saying? All right. So that being said, let's keep going. We're only 44 seconds in. This video is 25 minutes long. So let's go.
Everyone knows that when the phone rings and you pick it up, you're supposed to say hello. And that's part of our protocol. So who talks first, right? So the dominant protocol that we use in this section is the HTTP protocol. The key is hypertext transfer protocol. It's dominant. It's really easy to use. That's why I use it as an example. But realize that there are many others like mail and file transfer and remote login and all kinds of other protocols. Each is a different application protocol. They all use sort of sockets at their lower level. But then on top of that, they layer the rules of the road for retrieving hypertext web page.
I told you he wasn't going to go through that. I told you he wasn't going to go through that freaking slide at all. I told you. All right, so let's go. Let's type this down. Like we went through that whole song and dance, and he didn't even talk about it. That's the reality, and that's how college is. I remember when I was in college. That's how college is. These guys are bums. Like the only reason that these guys like him get hired to be big time professors, and I'm putting that in quotes, big time professors at colleges, because college kids are so stupid. And if you're in college, I'm talking to you. They're so stupid. They don't understand that this guy's he's a bum. He doesn't know how to teach. The only thing is the college kids see, oh, he worked in a field for 20, 30 years. He must know something. Yeah, he must know how to be a good employee. That's what he knows, but he doesn't know how to teach you how to do things. The trainers in companies and people that make money training people in actual companies, they don't go to teach college. They get paid so much more in the private, in actual companies that they would never. So yeah, college kids are idiots, as we know. That's why, you're an idiot if you go to school, because you go to school to stop being an idiot, right? Yeah, true, of course. So they don't know that this guy doesn't know. He doesn't know what he's doing. He has no idea. Look, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. I'm better at this stuff than he is, because I've been training people since I was a teenager. Okay, I've been at it. All right. This guy he got out of like being a code monkey for 30 years and said, I want to go teach. Well, his buddy knows somebody at University of Michigan or whatever the place is, and he got a job. That's really how it really went. It had to have. I'm assuming that's how it went. Okay, remember, I don't know anything real. I don't want to get sued for libel. But this guy doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything. He's just a glorified code monkey, just like the rest of them. The hypertext transfer protocol is the set of rules to allow browsers to retrieve web documents. Let's drop this down. Documents from servers over the internet. Okay. I was too busy thinking about myself yet again that I forgot to try to process this. So the hypertext transfer protocol, HTTP, is the set of rules. That's what we just went over, right? To allow browsers to retrieve web documents from servers over the internet. Okay, yeah. All right, let's go.
And we have used these for all kinds of other things. So the protocol, like I said,
it gets on my nerves. This is just like school, I don't know. They should be done with that. I don't need to talk about it. All right, and for some reason, that's what happens in Windows when you. Where's my notes at? When we do this, it goes away. I don't know why. Is it like wiping away? Look, what if I just hold down, right click and do this? No, you have to have Notepad open, and you have to do this to make it go away. And you can't just, you can make it come back like that too. Oh, who knew? I didn't. Okay, let's go. What is a protocol? What is a protocol? Oh, we've been using that word a lot. We just now getting to it. Oh, I've dropped OBS down. I'm gonna open that up too. Yeah. Yep, making videos. A set of rules that all parties follow so we can predict each other's behavior. I guess that's one way of saying it. Very that way. And not bump into each other. Yeah, that's the protocol. To avoid a set of rules that all parties follow so we can predict each other's to avoid congestion in the in our workflows. How about that? Sure, that's it. That's great. That's what protocol is. I like that. And we're not going to write down this stuff because we're not going to do that.
First, what do they say? What happens if the person doesn't answer right? Can you hear me now? Those kinds of things. And it's a real simple thing. And all you really need to do is so that both sides can agree, you have to write a thing that's like the rules in the middle and say, okay, everybody, as long as we all do this, we'll be fine. It's as simple as picking on which side of the road the cars can drive on. It works fine no matter which side. But if each car randomly picked, it would be really kind of a mess.
True.
So if you
and as usual, we skipped right through that one too. 1 minute 58 seconds how long we've done this, but we've been at this video for 32 minutes. I'm going to take a break. This might be a 3-part video. I don't know. I hope not. I really wish this was a half a minute longer than this, but it's just not that easy. When you're dealing with notes. So I'm going to take a break. I'll come back. I'm going to leave the stream running, but I'm going to come back to the video in a little bit. So we'll see it in just a little bit. All right, I'm back. So here we are. I think we're good on the notes. Let me get rid of this. We're good on the notes for right now. So let's continue with the video.
If you look at the typical URL, and this is one of the things that the web innovators in 1980 really invented that was wonderful, and it seems second nature today, but in 1990 it was rather revolutionary in that these uniform resource locators included in themselves a protocol, the host to connect to, and the document to retrieve. So this is one of the clever ideas that the web came up with, because we used to have to pick a program like FTP or Telnet or whatever, SMTP. Then we had to go to the right host, and then we had to talk to that host a certain way.
See, here this guy has been around for a long time, right? This guy knows what it was like when the internet started, right? He was there. This guy was there. I wasn't there. I wasn't there when it started. I got the internet when I was a teenager, and I had no idea how it worked. I just knew it was awesome. It was the best. I still think that the internet is probably the best thing that's ever happened to society. Probably the planet in history. Okay. That humans did. Okay, look, I'm Christian. Okay, I believe in Jesus. I know, I know God is real. All right, but the internet is just—it's undeniable. It's an undeniably useful tool that needs to be fully developed, and it's been going on pretty well so far. But now now it's time for guys like me to jump on and put my 2 cents in. Let's go.
We had to go to the right host, and then we had to talk to that host a certain way. So in HTTP, it's...
Here we go. Let's do this. What is this? Getting data from the server. All right. Getting data from the server. Okay. Each of the user clicks on an anchor tag with an href. Href equals hypertext reference. Hypertext reference value. Each of the user clicks on an anchor tag with an hypertext with an href value to switch to a new page. We're gonna have to run this through ChatGPT. This is trash. Pardon me. I'm just always so. Okay. To switch, we're just gonna put both of these into ChatGPT to do it like it did before. All right. To switch to a new page, the browser, and I'm just gonna do it verbatim. Browser makes a connection to the web server and issues a GET request to get the content of the page at the specified URL. Okay. The server returns the HTML document to the browser, which formats and displays the document to the user. Okay. I'm talking a lot of smack about this, but he doesn't have an editor. He doesn't have an editor editing this stuff. Although neither do I, but this is 2024. This was recorded in like 2017. AI isn't even a thing back then. I'm trying to think. I can't even remember 2017. I remember 2017. It wasn't a great year. It wasn't a fantastic year. Let's take this to ChatGPT right here. Translate this into normal speak. Normal into the normal vernacular. What's a vernacular? What's a vernacular? Everyday language, yes. Boom. All right. Well, Giglio. I was thinking, what I was thinking. All right, Justin. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for the vids. Great way to learn FreeCodeCamp curriculum. You're welcome. And I'm glad you're getting some use out of these. All right. So here we've got this thing right here, getting data from the server. All right. So let's type this down. Right. Let's just get rid of this. We can keep getting data from the server, right? So let's do this. Pardon me. When a user clicks a link or an anchor tag, The browser connects to the web server and sends a GET request to fetch the content of the page at that link's URL. Okay, we got to find out what a URL is. What's a URL? What's URL mean? What's a URL? Boom. How did I learn this stuff? You're watching me learn this stuff. No, I don't have a CS degree. Everything that I know about coding is in these videos. I don't learn this stuff unless I'm on a video, making the video, because that's the way I learn. I honestly could not do this if I wasn't, trying to get paid while doing it. I'm too old to be doing stuff for free. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's how I know. That's how, if you want to know how to learn coding like me, just watch every video I've done. All right. So here we are, a URL, Uniform Resource Locator. Okay. Let's call it that. We'll probably learn about this later. Like we learned about protocol after like 3 days of using the word, URL. Let's call that uniform resource. That's not just resource locator. Also, why didn't I drop this down 2 times? Let's drop this. That's sloppy. I don't like the way that looks, but it is what it is, right? What's the next one say? Oh, no, that's just my confidence of being an old man. I've got old man confidence, Justin. I am able to walk into a thing that I have no knowledge in and act like I know what I'm doing. Because, it's part of when you're old. Nothing's that hard. It's not like I'm dealing with heavy machinery here. You know what I'm saying? Let's type the next part. The server then sends, yeah, right? The server then sends the requested HTML back to the browser, which formats and, let's drop this down, displays the page for the user. Okay. So that's what we're doing when we're getting data from the server. When a user clicks a link or an anchor tag, the browser connects to the web server and then sends a GET request to fetch the content of the page at that link's URL. The server then sends the requested HTML back to the browser, which formats and displays the page for the user. Okay, so you click here's the link, right? You click that, right? And it connects to the web server. It's not going to do it here. I don't think ChatGPT links work, do they? I don't want, let's click it. Okay, so it did this. This domain is in use for Illustrator. Okay. 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 That's weird. That's weird. That's cool. I like that. All right. So anyway, so yeah, we click the thing, right? And it goes to, here it is. And it goes there. The browser connects to the web server, sends a GET request. So when we clicked it, it sent a GET request to fetch the content of the page. The server then sends the request. Okay. So after we send the GET, it sends the requested HTML back to the browser. So it sent this back to the browser right here. Okay. Which formats and displays the page to the user. So it was formatted and displayed like this. And yeah, it was, because obviously, I mean, we've all done the, what's it called? The responsive web design to get to this point. We all know. So we know that this, if it's not responsively designed, this would be over here, up here, and completely looking different. You know, we know that this box had to be created. This had to be changed this whole thing had to be centered and whatever. We know that there's CSS and HTML involved here. We could F12 and see it. There it is right there. Boom. Well, not much. Where's the CSS, baby? Oh, here's the CSS right here. And then here's the CSS. So yeah, we've done this. So let's come back to the video. And that's how it works. All right, let's come back to the video. And that's what this says. All right, once we translate it into the common vernacular.
A really simple protocol invented in 1989 and 1990 by Tim Berners-Lee and Robert Caillou at at CERN. And they created a protocol that we have grown to know and love and use for way more than retrieving documents, as we'll see in the upcoming chapters. So we're going to talk a little bit about what happens when you click on a page that has a link. Now, there's all kind of fancy stuff that can go on, but this is the basics. And so let's just imagine.
Just like usual, you didn't even go over that slide at all either, but that's why we're making the video, so that we can actually learn instead of just blah, 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 blah. Not about what we're doing, right? So let's see. We've got the web server, cloud browser, first page. Okay, let's see what he says this means, all right? Because I don't know how to decrypt these hieroglyphics. Let's go.
Imagine for the moment you are sitting looking at a web page, drchuck.com/page1, and inside that there is a hyperlink. It is a indication that says when you clicked on this page,
like
go to a different page. And in that you see the name of the page that you're supposed to go to.
Also true. Also, so actually, is that true? Let's go over to see at chat GPT. Oh, it does. Look in the corner. Well, I'm pointing at it with my finger, but right down here, look at this. Right here, look here. There it is. Okay. So he's telling the truth. Also, it looks really smooth here. Like, look at that. Hold on. Let's go. Where were we? Look at how it like fades in and fades out. That's like real smooth in this, and we can see the old style of how it used to be like that. So yeah, things are getting better. Things are getting better as we move on throughout history. Let's go.
This link. And that is a browser. This is an application. This is a process or an app that's running on your computer. This is the browser, okay? And when the browser sees the click inside your computer, then the browser makes a connection to port 80 on the web server, drchuck.com, and sends the request. This request that it sends,
because remember on the last video, it has to have like colon and a different port number to go to a different port. So this is going to be 80 is going to be the default port that we go to. I guess we'll deal with that somewhere along the line when we get into more advanced stuff, but that's what's going on right here. Let's go.
Precisely specified by a standard, which we will see in a second. Then the web server does some magic work.
Don't say magic, you piece of crap. It's real, actual physics. You bonehead, magic believing piece of garbage. All right, let's go. The second page, so it's got this here. That's not magic. All right. I hate that. Oh. Trigger warning, typical millennial, right? Yeah, I get triggered by people talking about magic. So if you want to ever get on my nerves, just start actually talking about magic like it's real. Oh boy, I will explode.
Let's go back. Then the web server does some magic work in here, reads some code, does whatever, constructs an answer to our phone call, and sends it back. And it sends, in this case, back a web page in the format of HTML, the hypertext markup language, which is different than HTTP, which is the protocol that we're exchanging. HTML is the format of the document we're getting back. And in this has an anchor tag, href, and the end of anchor tag, and some highlighted text. And now your browser gets this back and then renders it according to the rules of HTML and CSS and JavaScript, etc., parses it, and then makes a pretty web page. And this web page happens to have a link back to the first page, and if you click there, it will do this over and over and over again. And that is the request response cycle. And that's governed by a series of internet standards. These are standards that were built from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s and continue to this day. by a group called the Internet Engineering Task Force, or IETF. The documents they produce are called RFCs, which stands for Request for Comments. The word RFC is kind of like a sort of joke, as it were. They're trying to be kind of funny.
If you have to explain it, it's not a joke. It's just crap. So let's go here. Internet standards. Let's type this down. Let's see if we can get some use out of this. All right. Internet standards. Internet standards. Okay. The standards for all of the, I'm not capitalizing that, internet protocols, the inner workings, we already know that, I'm not writing that down, are developed by an organized, by the internet engineering task force. Yeah, okay. IETF. Sure, why not? And they've got a website at www.ietf.org. Okay, whatever. And it's their standards are called RCS requests. Okay. RFCs. Request for comments. Okay. Okay, let's hear what else we got going on here.
Funny is not the right word. It's ironic in that they're trying to say, even some of the protocols of the internet that we've used for several decades, they're always interested in improvements, and that's what the RFC stands for, and they're all named RFC-whatever. And if we were going to cruise around, we could find some various RFCs, and this is RFC 2616.
What is that? All right, let's hear it.
It might have been revised since then, but this is like a document, and this is what they look like. Hypertext Transfer Protocol version 1. And so you're reading this document. You're going to write a browser, and you want to talk to the application protocol that is HTTP. This is one of many documents that helps define what HTTP is. So if you look down and said, oh, here's what a request looks like. This is how I'm going to get a document from the server. And you keep reading and you keep reading, and it says...
I was reading that. I thought we were going to have some time. All right, let's read this anyway. I'm just curious. I want to see what this is. So we would have this. A request message from a client to a server includes within the first line of that message the method to be applied to the resource, the identifier of the resource, and the protocol version in use. What? Okay. Remember, ChatGPT wasn't around back then. Somebody actually wrote this robot crap. This is a real person wrote this robot garbage. This robot, somebody actually thinks they're a robot or something like that. But this is actually formatted like I format, though. Oh, that's actually better than I format. Anyway, whatever. That's really good, actually. This is pretty good formatting. See the tab here. The tab here. That's acceptable. As a formatter of text documents, I can say that this is pretty good. Although I don't know about these being way over here. Maybe we should end these up. So yeah. Anyway, whatever. Let's go.
Get a document from the server, and you keep reading and you keep reading, and it says. You're supposed to have the request method with a space, with the request URI, the request method with a space, with the URI with a space, the HTTP version, and the carriage return the line feed. That's what it's saying. And so it looks kind of like this, right? We say get the document, followed by a space. There's got to be one space. You do two spaces, and it's going to be quite frustrating, okay? And so this is an example that to be...
Hold on. Oh. Give me a second. Okay. So we're going to have to write this down right now, okay? And as we can see, he didn't even talk about that. But let's go. That's why this is 22 minutes and we're only 6 minutes and 28 seconds. And we've literally only done this 2 minutes of actual video and the rest has just been writing. All right, let's go. Let's do that. Making an HTTP request. Let's do that. Making an HTTP request. College is college. The point of college and universities and going to the college is not for learning, because this is the trash that these guys crank out. Okay, it's the point of going to college is the connections you make, because even though this sucks, this guy does know a lot of people in the industry and he can get his students jobs. That's why he's hired. It's not for his skill at making anything. I mean, you know, of course he's good at making computer stuff. I'm sure he's phenomenal. Actually, I'm sure this guy is an absolute expert at what he used to do. But this, I guess he's still getting learning the ropes. So making an HTTP request. Let's go here. Connect to the server. Connect to the server like www.example.com. All right, like we saw earlier. Request a document or the default document. Okay. What? Oh, yeah. So it would be like this. Let's bring this up. Let's bring this down and over, down, over to here. How about that? Okay. Let's say it would be like a get HTTP www.example.com document 1.htm HTTP. What is the 1.0? I don't know what that is. And obviously, like, look, we had to go back to get to this page, so he's not going to tell us what this is. So let's go ask the expert over here. According to this, all right, where's the expert at? Let's get out of this. Here we go. According to this, what's this part mean? Let's get this and drop it off of here. Okay, and let's make sure this looks exactly somewhat like what it looks like over here. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. That's exactly what we got. All right, let's see what ChatGPT says. Question mark. Okay, so this part refers to the version of the hypertext transfer protocol being used in the request. In this case, it's version 1.0, an older version of the protocol that governs how the client, ergo the web browser, communicates with the server. Okay. Here's a history lesson. Don't need it. Modern websites typically use 1.1 or 2, which keep the connection open for multiple requests, improving performance. Turns out. All right. So this just indicates which version of the HTTP protocol the browser is using to communicate with the server. Okay, thank you, ChatGPT. 2024 learning is a lot better these days, because if we were in college and we would have saw this garbage on the screen, we would have had to go and like walk to the library. And I'm talking about when I was a kid. Walk to the library and try to find a book that says this crap. Oh man, what a day that used to be. Whatever. Oh, look who it is. It's my boy the hacker. Black hand who walks behind. Yes. If we send it to, what is this? I can't see what you said because the heart's in the way. Look, there's hearts in the way on this thing. I can't see what you said. Send it back in time, they would believe it's magic. Nah, look, only idiots believe in magic. That's how it is. You got to be stupid to believe in magic. You got to be stupid. You have to be an idiot to believe in magic. It's like a prerequisite. You have to be an idiot to believe in magic. There's always a cause and effect. You know what I'm saying? Always. No, it's cool. It's cool. Let's go.
Quite frustrating. Okay. And so this is an example that you can run on a number of on Linux operating systems and Macintosh operating systems with no changes. If you install Telnet on your Windows box, you should be able to run something like this as well.
What?
So Telnet is a program that we used in the old days.
Okay.
It used to be how we logged into servers, but because it doesn't encrypt your data back and forth, we don't use it anymore.
Makes
but
sense.
It basically is a program that can open a socket to a host on a port. And I'm saying Telnet to this host on port 80. And at this point, I am connected. And whatever I type on my keyboard is going to be sent to that server. Now, if you're doing this, you probably want to cut and paste this really fast.
True.
Because if you take too long, most web servers will be like, you're a human. I don't want to talk to humans. I want to talk to programs. So remember to type this fast enough. And then you have to hit Enter twice. So you have to have a blank line here. Just type this exactly as it's shown. And then you will get back the server. If you do it right, the server, and the server is properly configured, the server will give you back some headers. And this is metadata about the document you're going to get. For example, it's saying it's got text/HTML, which means that the remaining stuff is going to be in HTML, hypertext markup language. It has a blank line, and then the actual document, and then the connection is closed. And so if you do this, you can set this up in a way that you can run this on your own computer and, in effect, hack through the back.
That's what I thought you was talking about.
Hack the secure web servers and mail servers. Used to be easy to hack, but they're harder to hack now because they challenge you for information. But part of the reason I'm so obsessed with the command line is this is how real hackers work, and they know how to talk some of these protocols more directly. And so we think of this beautiful, sophisticated application talking to some other thing, and it's all pretty, and we got wonderful clicky buttons and nice usability. But the reality is, like in the Matrix Reloaded here, the kinds of things that really talented hackers are doing use command lines, and they really know what's going on, and that's how they do it. They understand what's going on better than the developers of the computers that are trying to be resistant to the hacking. So I come from a long line of using the command line, and that's why I encourage you.
You mean long line? You were there when computers were invented. Long line. You are the dot at the beginning of the line. What are you talking about? This guy over here in his thing. But yeah, okay, so I was wondering if they were actually going to get into how to commit crime with computers, and turns out just stick with it long enough. So yeah, okay, I'm not interested in the crime aspect of this or how to get into stuff that people don't want me to get into, but I guess this is important for some reason. Maybe to make life more interesting. What was before that? So yeah, that's what I thought was going on here, was a precursor to how to get into somebody else's stuff without them wanting you to see it. A little bit of a criminal mindset, but whatever. Yeah, well, you know, I would imagine that the command line, obviously that's how you have to do it, is the command line. But come come on now. I just want to make little applications to make life a little bit easier on people. I don't want to get into people's bank accounts and stuff like that. Accurate hacking, blah, blah, blah. Die Hard 4. There was a fourth one? Turns out I didn't see that one, and that was also forgettable. So turns out
hack, but they're harder to hack now because they challenge you for information.
I'm just going to skip this because I don't care.
Part of the reason I'm so obsessed with the command line is this is how real hackers work, and they know how to talk some of these protocols more directly. And so we think of this beautiful, sophisticated application talking to some other thing, and it's all pretty, and we got wonderful clicky buttons and nice usability. But the reality is, like in the Matrix Reloaded here, the kinds of things that really talented hackers are doing use command lines, and they really know what's going on, and that's how they do it. They understand what's going on better than the developers of the computers that are trying to be resistant to the hacking. So I come from a long line of using the command line, and that's why I encourage you to use the command line in this course. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go up into the application layer, and instead of typing those commands by hand, we're going to actually send them from Python and write a very simple Python web browser.
Okay. All right. So there's that. Let's go look at the notes. Yeah. I'm just leaving out the hacker crap at the end of it. I'm not into it. I'm not into that at all. I'm just trying to make simple things, simple things to make life better. Regardless, let's go to this. What type of HTTP request is usually used to access a website? The GET, because the rest of them I don't even remember talking about. All right, let's do it. Aha, there we go. And submit it. So now we're on to networking, write a web browser, and we'll see you next time.